Hello, and happy Wednesday. We are halfway through the week, and it has been somewhat of a tricky week. Monday was really good. Yesterday was really choppy. Today, things just are moving a little bit slower than normal, at least the stuff that I'm watching. And the overall market's not making any like huge moves, like huge quick moves. Let me show you what I'm seeing on the SPY because I find that somewhat interesting, somewhat telling of what's going on here. So don't mind my thousands of levels. But we've got this little tippy top right here, right after this kind of like pop up before it sold off. And, right at the tip of that candle is 454. And then if we take this guy here, so basically, this sort of level here, where it found support and bounced is around 462. So we've got 454 down here and we've got 462 here. If I bring it over to, let's just do the 15 so you can kind of see. So, these higher time frame range levels, and just like support and resistance levels can be so important, and you can see it right here on the SPY, right? So we broke through that 554 level, the one on the chart that was like this, right? There's like a little tippy top. We broke through that. We retested it that day, and as soon as we reclaimed it, we just soared. And then we went until our next resistance point, which was support at one point on that candle with the wick, right? So yesterday at the open, we tried to get up to that. Today, or at the close, we touched it. This morning in the pre-market, we tried to get up to it again. So I'm seeing this as a very good area to watch for possible reversal or breakout. And then the next, big major place is 554, which we've only, really played against this one time, I think. If I back it up, did we play it anywhere else? Let's look. No, not since this like big uptrend, right? So we're in a very steady uptrend. So I'm interested in these two areas. And then at the open, we've got S3 somewhere around here. I'll zoom in just so we can double check. Let's just put that pivots on. Yeah, so we've got S3 here. So in the pre-market, it's just kind of holding S3, right? But we've got this resistance point up here. And, I still, I feel like if we can get going off of this, maybe we could get up there. But if you zoom out to yesterday, you can start to find a level here on the 5-minute, which would also show up on like, the 60 and the 30 and stuff. So we couldn't get through this level yesterday morning. We broke it in the afternoon and then we held it for a while in the pre-market. When we lost it, we tried to get back above it here. And so now I'm seeing this as resistance, support, resistance again. So I see that this could be, something to watch for. So in the morning, two of the stocks on my list, I was thinking were more, I was a little bit more short biased on, and I didn't know if we would get all the way up here before I would, take a short on it. So I was looking, at this level. So if the SPY rejected this level, then I would be interested in a short. If the SPY was down at S3 and bounced, I would maybe take a long, or I would just, be short biased after we, continue to lose the bottom of this area. Some sort of, retracement back towards 554 would be what I'd be looking for. Will we do it all in one day? Probably not. You never know. The market's wild. But that's kind of where I think we will be going if we can't get through this level up here. But we might find support before that. So anyways, that was the long-winded explanation of what I saw on the SPY. If you're still with me, let's get to it. So I traded this morning MRNA, and it took me 3 times to catch this bad boy. So take this to the weekly. And this is what I saw on the weekly chart, right? So I see this, and we're pushing right up against the top of this level. So I'm interested in it. And if I take it over to the daily, I can see here on the daily that we tried to get through it and we just couldn't quite hold it, lost it, and now we're trying to come back through it, up to it again, and see if we're gonna break it or not. If I take it over to the pivots and go to the daily again, I can see that on the daily chart we've got R4 on the pivots here. So not only do we have a pretty strong level here, but we also have R4 on the pivots. To be honest, this R4 level, I didn't recognize until after I was already in the trade. And you'll see that the reason why it messed with my ad today. But I was looking for this area as a possible rejection point if the market was weak. And that's what I played. So at least a rejection down to R4 worked pretty well. So if I take it, let's see, we'll do this, take it to the 1 minute, and I will just zoom in. So what I did this morning was we opened and we started to push down, and I thought, it's not gonna, I don't know if it's gonna get up to my level. I don't know, if I'll be able to take a trade on this. It might just leave without me. If the market opens really weak, it might just leave without me. But the market kind of like hung around a little bit. It didn't quite sell off really fast. And so I actually set a limit order out here. It pushed up, I got filled, and then immediately stopped out. Then I was watching it, I saw that it rejected R4, and I thought, all right, well, sometimes the pivots that are around my level, if they're not right at my level, it will go to the nearest pivot, and then I can usually take the trade off of that. So I tried to do it again and got stopped out. And then I saw the tape starting to speed up, and we were at pre-market high, and at the same time, you can see this. Bring over the SPY really quick so I can show you. At the same time, the SPY is really struggling to get through that level. And as soon as it lost it, it took MRNA with it. So this is the level that I was watching for, right? Like there's that weekly level way up there that I wanted to play, but I also said that, we rejected this pretty heavily yesterday, held it as support in the pre-market, but then lost it and couldn't get back through it in the pre-market. So I was definitely interested in this area, this little dotted line guy here. So that's when I took the third time on MRNA, and it actually worked out. MRNA can be tricky to begin with. It can move pretty wild sometimes. But that was my plan on it. And luckily I got a decent move out of it. Unfortunately, I added, which kind of screwed it up, and I just didn't catch the next target. But so I wrote it here, partial just below previous day close. It looked like the Qs might be pushing a little bit, so I got a little bit more out, but then it shot right back down and just threw a wick there, and I was like, oh, well, maybe this is an opportunity to add. And unfortunately, I got stopped out at my new break even before it rolled over again, which my next target was 174, which is where it's at right now. Hate it when that happens, but just got to get better at adding. There's always something to get better at, and adding is definitely not my forte. I have good days with it, but today was not one of them. Hindsight 2020, looking back at this now, there's a range that was setting here, right? I thought I was getting in at a decent point in the range, but now I realize I was just in the middle of it. This false break, I could have added, as we came back into the range for hopefully another move down or rejection of previous day close, something like that. And also, enter when the SPY is at a good place where you want to play it, or you would play, like, if you think about it as like, where would I play it if I wasn't already in this? That could be sometimes a good thing to do. Sometimes I just get too zoomed in and I forget to ask myself that question, and I just kind of add to it because I get excited about the next move down and then, kind of screw my trade. So things to work on. Anyways, so that was MRNA. And then PayPal, I was looking at this weekly chart here. I like this range here. Right here, we got this little guy from back in like 2019. So we're like right at the top of it. And if I take it to the daily, you can see that we broke through it yesterday. So the level is this yellow line here. You can see that we broke through it yesterday. And, I was thinking maybe it'll be a breakout, right? Like kind of got this going on. And if I do some of the weekly pivots here, I thought, because this morning we were actually like holding up here, I thought maybe we were holding above R4, and so that could also lead to a breakout here on this. So a breakout of the higher time frame range with R4 paired with it, maybe we would get a good move on it. I actually looked at the pivots on the daily on this one. I did not look at it on or on the weekly. I did not look at it on MRNA. But so that worked the second time. So I'll take you to the actual trade itself. All right, so I was thinking that because yesterday we broke out above that level, I was thinking, you know what, we might not actually come back and touch this. I'm gonna get in at previous day's close for the breakout to the top side. And Unfortunately, I got stopped out, but I just took a small loss here. And then I set my limit order out down here, thinking, it'll come and get me and I will, ride this as a breakout. It bounced off the pre-market low and I was like, oh no, it's leaving me. So I actually drug my limit order up and got filled here. I would have got filled anyways. So, not always necessary to drag my limit order. Just like let the level happen. Megan, do it. Come on, you could do it. But it ended up working out. I got this move up here. Got a heavy rejection here, and I took a partial, and then I held for break even, and then of course it turned around and went up again. So, I got a decent move out of it, and now it has lost the level, which, had I been watching, could have been a fun setup for a short at the level. But I already got it this morning and I'm good with that. And then I took one more baby trade on FSLY that I got out of a little bit too early today. So, not honestly my best trading day. I was finding the chop a little bit tricky to trade this morning. But so FSLY it's on the weekly here. Let's take these pivots off. We've got this area here that I'm watching, right, where we've kind of had this range set. And this morning, we attempted it. And it is also R3. So I'm looking at this R3 rejection and a loss of this level. I came over to this like right as this happened. So I got in a little bit late. But I kept my stop up above this. And so I got this move down to here. I just took some off here. I was holding for 18 and we've now broken 18, but we just really needed the market to move. And I was feeling a little impatient this morning about how slowly the market was moving. And it was actually hard for me to hold. I usually am very good at holding, but when the market moves super, super slow, sometimes it can make it difficult for me to stay in a trade. I was just feeling a little bit antsy. So I got out of it for a little win. And it's still going. So, right idea. So that's always good. And I caught a little piece of the move. So can't complain about that. You can't be mad about catching some of the move at least. But overall, a decent day. And yeah, maybe tomorrow will be even better. But you can't complain about being green. All right, guys. I hope you had a good day. I will catch you later. Peace.